Hi, welcome to Happier Ladies, a podcast where we discuss all things related to the Happier in Hollywood podcasts. We're sisters and super fans
who can't get enough happier.
So we created our own podcast to keep the conversation going.
I'm Malika Amandi, a SoCal native living in Western Massachusetts, a new mom, and an entrepreneur. I'm here with my sister, Azizi Williams.
That's me. I live and work in the LA area. I'm a not-so-new mom, and I'm an educational professional in the independent school world. This week, we'll discuss takeaways from the latest episodes of Happier in Hollywood, and we'll talk about how to enjoy the ride and messy closet obstacle.
Azizi, there's something I've been meaning to tell you.
All right.
So yesterday, my dog, Kermit Ruffins, got out.
Oh, no.
He escaped the backyard somehow. And we were sitting in the house. I knew that he was outside and he had been out for a while. And then I was kind of hearing his bark. And I thought it sounded like directionally, it wasn't coming from where it usually is. And just something like my spidey sense went up.
Wow.
And Norm went outside to check. And somebody had gotten out of their car and was trying to bring him to us.
Oh, no. He was in the street.
He had gotten into the street. And
no.
I guess when this woman advanced, he moved onto the lawn, but she said that he was in the street. And she's not just a woman. I don't know her name, but she lives in the neighborhood. And she has a dog named Enzo. It's funny. It's the same size as Kermit, but they're like, they like, no, there's only room for one of them.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Weird dog.
I'm glad she stopped and recognized him because that's a pretty busy street. And
how did you get him back in?
Norm was able to get him in just by calling him. And I don't know. I was surprised because he's not the most listeningest dog. But he came inside. Yeah, that was scary. It's like we could have lost him.
He's not gotten out before.
He's gotten out. He has one other time. We need a better fence. There's a fence, but there's some places where it's vulnerable and there's like brush and I don't know. But he's usually not the type of dog that's like itching to get out, So it just kind of took us by surprise. But that was a scare.
That is a scare. You know what's weird? Bo got out too.
Yesterday?
It was last week. It was like Tuesday. He got out. And this is how I knew. Because Bo likes to bark. That's his happy place, is barking. And there's a lot of construction next door. They're building a structure in their backyard. And so he was out barking in the morning, or it was in the afternoon. And then all of a sudden, I heard barking from the front of the house. And I said, what's going on? And I opened the door, and he was standing at the front door. He was barking like, let me in. So I let him in. He ran in, and the side gate was left open by the gardeners. This has happened before. So this is a thing. But this is the first time that he just came right to the front door and was, like, this is where I live. You should let me in now. So thank goodness it was not quite as big an ordeal as Kermit Ruffins, but that's weird.
Yeah.
Well, I have something to tell you. So not as dramatic as a lost dog, but I've been thinking a lot about the numbers, right? And picking a lucky number. And you keep sending me these screenshots of your lucky number somehow keeps appearing in the world. And I'm not seeing it. But at your suggestion, my birthday, you said shorten it and just do the 11 part. And I think I'm with you. So I saw this Instagram post from Jessamine Stanley, the Underbelly Yoga. I follow her. She's fantastic. And she had this post about angel numbers, which I had never heard of before. And basically, it's 3 of the same numbers in a row, 111, 222, 333, and so on. And they each mean something different. So 111 is intuition, trust your gut, and listen to your heart, which I thought was really lovely. So that's like a play on, 11. which is the day of my birthday. And so I'm going to pick that one. That's going to be my lucky number. 111. When I see it, I'm going to trust my gut and listen to my heart.
Nice. I
Okay.
love it.
So let's see how this
So
goes.
every day at 1:11, you don't have to like set an
Right.
alarm, but just if you look at the clock and it happens to be 1:11, then you'll know
Right.
that you know.
I feel like I should set the clock. I should set the clock just to get used to it because otherwise I'll miss it. And, I'm not going to see the 1:11 a.m. I have one shot. So I need to tune in. So
Okay.
maybe I'll set an alarm and I'll post in the show notes what these numbers mean. Okay. So Malika, what happened in Happier this week?
This week on episode 450 of Happier, they had a very special episode all about performance. Gretchen and Liz shared their top tips and hacks for public speaking and included some listener advice as well. This conversation is so relevant to me, to my life and my work. And
Yes, they may not know that you are an actor, trained and practiced, a real deal actor.
exactly, professional performer.
Okay. Professional performer.
No, I'm
Noted.
just riffing on the performance
Got
aspect
it.
of
Got it.
the theme, but so professional performer, and for many years I was a coach to people who wanted to use their voice in various ways, but often it was helping people prepare for professional speaking events or public speaking, exactly what Gretchen and Liz were speaking to. So I was just like buzzing with excitement to hear their tips, and it was fun to listen to. Some of the things that really resonated with me were their conversation around planning for the worst case scenario. So that is something that I always do. And it reminded me of this exercise called the pre-mortem that I learned about in a TED Talk, where you basically give yourself permission to imagine that whatever the event is that you're preparing for, that it went horribly wrong. So this is like you give yourself permission to catastrophize, basically. But the premise is, okay, it's Monday morning. This event was Sunday and I feel terrible about it. Why do I feel terrible? And you kind of imagine all the things that maybe would make you feel terrible, basically. And then you,
Yeah. Kind of a sad place to go.
and then you plan backwards. So, for instance, let's say, let me give myself a real example coming up. So, I'm giving a talk soon about public speaking, ironically.
Are you serious? Yes. Oh, wow. Okay.
So, if I was doing a pre-mortem for this event, I might imagine, the talk was yesterday. It went really badly. Why did it go badly? And the first thing that comes up for me is the students were bored. So that's obviously connected to some deep fear about giving a boring talk. So then I
Yeah.
would work
Because you are not boring.
well, thank you. But I would work backwards to think, okay, well, how am I making this talk interesting? What am I going to do to make sure that it's not boring? Okay, maybe I can build in a little bit more interaction, icebreakers, or moments where they share what's coming up for them. And so I'm not just talking at them. Another thing might be, oh, the thing went horrible because the power went out in the middle and the computer shut down. So,
Yeah. That's a real fear
right?
happened. Yeah.
So I might think, okay, then I'm just going to have a printout of the slides. And so if I needed to, I could just give the talk anyway with my printout.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to send the slides to the class ahead of time so everybody has them on their phone if they want to look at them that way. So it's just a framework to get you into problem solving mode ahead of time, which I think it's useful for any kind of public speaking event, but it's also useful for like a vacation or really just anything that you feel invested in.
And you did this for your vacation, right?
Yes, I did. We went to Italy. It was my husband, my son, me, and my friend, Sabina. Norm had a work trip. So his focus was kind of on work, just traveling internationally with a baby under one just feels like, oh, there's so many things that could go wrong. And so it was good to think about them ahead of time and really plan it out.
We watched some YouTube videos of parents traveling with young children. That was
Yes.
fun. Get some tips.
Yes. One tip that I have for public speaking, which was not quite mentioned in the episode, but I think is an important one, is that if you have a public speaking event, especially if that's not something that you do regularly, give yourself the rock star treatment. So what I mean by that is really plan out your moves ahead of time as if you were a star being handled by a whole crew that was just making the thing happen for you. So if you were Taylor Swift showing up at your concert, you would know exactly what time you needed to be there. Somebody would make sure you got there at that time. They would have the food all laid out for you before the show. Everything would be kind of arranged. And I have worksheets for this, which is like planning out when you're going to arrive at the place, what you're going to eat that day, know where you're going to park, plan your outfit ahead of time, make sure you know kind of when you're going to go to the bathroom before you need to be on stage. And then I think this is the part that most people don't think about, but from a kind of self-care perspective as a performer is think about what's going to happen afterwards. So often we put all of our energy into warming up or just getting there and like getting through it. But then you have all this energy and it's important to take care of yourself on the backside. So really plan how you're going to cool down or how you're going to wind down after this event. Even just giving yourself a few little activities. I'm going to text this friend and then I'm going to eat this snack. Just kind of giving yourself a complete picture can really make it more sustainable. So it doesn't feel like, oh, there's always such a buildup and then I just crash.
That's really helpful, Malika. I can imagine that having a script and sort of being your own manager and taking care of those details that you might easily overlook would help you feel more prepared and have, actually an enjoyable experience public speaking. So let's definitely put those in the show notes. I think that's a great tip.
So, Azizi, tell me what happened on Happier in Hollywood this week.
In Happier in Hollywood, episode 334, Liz and Sarah talk about picking up their projects from before the strike, now that the writer strike is over. They talked about the joy of a one-time book group, getting a local farm box, and they shared a book recommendation. They also chatted about Liz's recent celebrity sightings. So this made me wonder, first of all, I'm in LA and Malika, you were recently here. We grew up here. Let's talk about our own celebrity sightings. Malika, do you want to go first? Tell me what celebrities have you seen out in the wild?
Well, the one that comes to mind first is Scott Speedman from Felicity.
Okay.
I don't know if you watched Felicity.
I did not.
Okay. Well, if you know, you know.
Okay.
He is very cute.
Felicity fans out there going crazy right now.
What's funny is that I've seen him multiple times in LA.
So weird.
I think he lived in the same neighborhood, maybe, because I definitely saw him near the reservoir at least twice. Yes. Oh my goodness.
Coming back to you now.
He's coming back.
Yeah.
Because he definitely went to Dinosaur Coffee where I used to hang out. And oh my goodness. My friend who worked there was like, yes, he comes in all the time.
Are you sure he's not stalking you?
No.
Okay.
But I definitely saw him once there and they had a whole interaction. And I was just like, because, I watched Felicity in, I guess, high school and I had everybody had a crush on him. That was the whole premise of the show, is that Felicity was supposed to go to Stanford and she decides to go to NYU on a whim because she's following her crush, Ben.
Oh.
Anyway, it's a whole thing. But
got it.
So when I was in LA this past spring, I saw him at the LA Zoo.
What? When you were visiting? You saw them at the zoo? Yeah.
By the gorillas.
This is Malika. I think you're destined to be in a movie together or something. I think you need to say something. If you see him again, it's a definite sign from the universe.
I don't know. I took like a sneaky picture and texted it to my friend.
Yes.
He was there with his wife and his child. It's just thrilling because he's still like Ben to me. That was the character name. Who have you seen?
All right. I had to really think hard about this. I have a couple. So one was George Lucas, who I saw, and it stands out because it was so unexpected. It was I was in college and I was at a Janet Jackson concert in Oakland. And I happened to get like last minute really good tickets. I was on the floor and I look over ahead of me is George Lucas. And I think it was his then girlfriend. Now they're married. And it just blew my mind. George Lucas at a Janet Jackson concert is not something you'd expect to see.
I'm amazed that you would recognize George Lucas.
Don't you? He's a very prominent figure, you know.
I can't picture his face right now.
Well, at a Janet Jackson concert, it stands out. So that is burned in my brain. And then many years later, I was with my oldest daughter, Ilea, at a basketball tournament. And at these tournaments, they're like these huge warehouses, and they have multiple courts. And there's just like a lot of energy, lots of games going on, people in and out. And there was a lot of, we just walked in. There was a crowd kind of forming in one area. And I kind of strained to see who it was. It was Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was there with his daughter. He was the coach for his daughter's basketball team. So everyone was kind of buzzing. I saw him just as he was leaving. It was, that was quite a moment. So that was a second celebrity sighting. And then Malika, the biggest celebrity of all, I had an encounter with Brad Pitt. And I'm not going to say more about it. I'm going to leave it there. And maybe later we'll talk about it. But I will say he glows. There's like stardust and butterflies, and it's magic hour when it's just, he glows. And I was not expecting to be that taken aback by his presence, but it's real. So next time we'll talk about that.
Azizi, how's your dinner game these days?
Well, Malika, I used to struggle with what to cook for dinner.
You're cooking now?
Okay. Actually, my husband used to struggle with what to make for dinner. I mean, meal planning, grocery lists, yuck. But then we found Prep Dish. It's a weekly meal planning service that tells you exactly what to cook. And now they've partnered with Instacart, so your grocery list becomes a ready-to-go online cart.
Oh, what's in your cart, Azizi?
All of the Prep Dish ingredients, plus I can add energy drinks, chili crisp, lipstick, whatever, and check out in just a few clicks. Shopping online is so fun. The meals are family-friendly, healthy, and super easy to prep. Dinner is easy to make, and now we look forward to new tasty meals.
Prep Dish is offering our listeners 2 weeks free. Just head to prepdish.com/happierladies to sign up. Again, that's prepdish.com/happierladies.
Claptrap here. 2 big things are coming this fall. Borderlands 4 and Spotify Wrapped. So stop listening to that one playlist that reminds you of your ex who only made you cry. Talking about you, Veronica. And pre-order Borderlands 4, coming out September 12th.
Rated mature.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. When you visit the doctor, you probably hand over your insurance, your ID, and contact details. It's just one of the many places that has your personal info. And if any of them accidentally expose it, you could be at risk for identity theft. LifeLock monitors millions of data points a second. If you become a victim, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year at LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
But I'm going to keep my eyes open. I feel like now, well, first of all, I need to do Fryman Canyon because clearly that's where, the celebrities are, and I'm
Okay.
so close. So I'll keep you posted if I see any others. And now it's time for our segment, Take a Breath, where we share something that's feeding our soul. What I'm thinking about right now, what's feeding my soul, is thinking about the phrase, enjoy the ride. And it has to do with the start of the school year. And when I think about what the school year is going to encompass and all the ups and downs, it's helpful to reframe it as a ride. And I actually, I have an image, I have a photo, which I will put in the show notes. And it's my family. We're at Knott's Berry Farm. We're on the log ride. There's this huge drop at the end of the log ride. If you know, you know. And there's a place where they take your picture. And our picture is hilarious because my daughter Eileen and I, our hands are up. We're enjoying the ride. My husband and my younger daughters and I, you can't see them. Their heads are buried. It's like they're not there, but I was there, so I know they're there. And, this is a reminder to like put your hands up, enjoy this ride. There's going to be a lot of emotions and feelings, ups and downs, some scary moments. But when I think about it as a ride, I will enjoy it much more, and it's more sort of thinking about the long view as opposed to focusing so much on each bump. Just thinking about the long view is really helpful. And I remember when I was in graduate school, one of my professors, he was fantastic. On the first day of class, he started by projecting an image of a bus on a country road. And he just kept saying, we're on a ride together. We're going to go places. We're going to learn things together. And while we're on this ride, I want you to every now and again stop and reflect because that's important. And then we'll get there on this journey together. And throughout the course, periodically he would show the picture of the bus again and remind us, oh, right, we're on a ride. We're going somewhere. We're going somewhere together. So I think it's helpful actually to reframe these big experiences where you're going to experience lots of emotions and feelings as a ride. And I think it's actually helpful to also have an image in your mind to help you really reflect on the journey.
I love that. That's such a fun image too of you on the log ride. Do you have that photo somewhere in your office?
I have it as a sticker on my GoodNotes iPad where I take notes so that I can drop it into any of my notes whenever I feel like I need that reminder. So it shows up periodically in my notes if I feel like I need a boost or a reframe of something I'm going through. It just makes me happy. So it does show up.
So you have like your staff meeting notes and then there's the log ride picture.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, you should see my stickers on my notes. There's one of Captain EO, like random flowers I've taken pictures of. That's a whole other.
I love that. That's great. I think that's it's a powerful reframe, and it's hard when things that happen to us that are uncomfortable. I think one of the hardest things is to enjoy them or to see the value of the things that cause us discomfort, right? So the tendency is just to grit and like endure or to hunker down, which sometimes that's all we have the bandwidth for or the capacity for. But if we can expand and just roll with it and, as you said, go for the ride, there's so much more that's possible, right? And it's also it can feel better.
Yeah. Yeah. And, we tend to, as human beings, over focus on the down part, on the negative parts. We that takes up more space in our brain, or those memories are stronger. And so when you reframe it as a ride, you remember, oh, there were things that were enjoyable also. There were positive aspects to it. And so you have to really work to remember those positive things, or that just because there's a bump, doesn't mean you're getting ready to have a high point again.
That's great. Now it's time for our segment, Happiness Obstacle, where we share circumstances that are getting in the way of our happiness. So I have to talk about my messy closet because,
oh boy,
my closet is so messy and I can't remember a time when it wasn't messy.
That's
it's like I can't even find home because I don't know. So we moved. I talked about this a couple episodes ago. We rearranged where our bedroom was situated in the house. We called it Operation Renest. That was at a chaotic time anyway. So it was just move everything into this room, just throw everything in. And so I feel like I never really had time to establish my new closet. I just put the clothes in there. But on top of that, there's this whole seasonal change that happens, which, we didn't grow up that way.
You had your like light sweater, your hoodie that you took it on and you took it off. That was it.
So now
maybe a raincoat.
there's a whole wardrobe change. It's like the combination of the seasonal change. So now it's getting cooler, and I've got some winter things that are in a big tub somewhere that I'm trying to reintegrate. But also, I had a whole like maternity wardrobe thing last year. And so a lot of the clothes are not quite fitting, or there's just like these different levels. And I feel like the happiness obstacles that I have to open my closet every single day to get clothes out of it. It's just like what we were talking a couple episodes ago about a refrigerator, and how you open it every day and you're like, oh yeah.
Brings you down a little bit every day.
So I think I need like a full day to just, I guess, Marie Kondo, take everything out and then put the things back in that I want in an organized fashion.
Yeah. It's going to feel so good, Malika, when you do it. And I feel like there were some times before, maybe when you first moved in, where we would Zoom together while you would, declutter, and I could be there and help you make decisions. I'm happy to be that person for you again. I'm happy to get on Zoom. We can schedule it and I can walk you through the letting go.
Okay.
And the moving on. Because that's the hard part, is that we like dwell on things too long and imagine all kinds of scenarios, but like just let it go. So I'm happy to do that.
I would almost prefer not to be there. Like somebody else could do it. I don't even feel attached to the stuff.
I see.
It's just the volume.
Yeah.
Like if I could pay someone to don't tell me what you took away. I probably won't remember or miss it.
Yeah. Well, guess what? You can. I know there are people who will do that for you if that's what you really want. Also, I'm coming in December, so I can do that for you, but you want it done before then. So
yeah,
take it all out. Yeah. Or maybe it would be easier to just focus on shoes one day and tops one day instead of the whole thing at once. I can see how that would feel.
That's a good idea.
Maybe just like zones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, things are settling a bit now. I mean, also, to be fair, we talk about this a lot, but it's real. You just had a baby. Your baby is just now 1. You got a new job. You've gone through all these major life changes. So please be easy on yourself.
Thank you.
Also, remember that.
I have to remind myself things that I'm not getting done because they're not a priority. And they just aren't, because other things are the priority. And so I need to be okay with that. And I am, but I think those spaces again that you see every day, multiple times a day, maybe I need to reframe this as the part of the ride. Enjoy the ride, enjoy the messy closet.
It won't be that way forever. And this is the ride of like working mom. You're working mom now of a growing boy, and that messy closet is a part of it. And a closet, at the end of the day, you can shut the door. You can shut the bedroom door, even if you can't shut the closet door. I know that you'll tackle that.
All right. So now it's time for our segment, Peaks and Valleys, because in life, there are always peaks and valleys. And this week is an even episode. So Azizi will start us off with a peak.
I would like to take a minute to just publicly thank Gretchen, Liz, and Sarah. That's the peak this week. Gretchen, Liz, and Sarah have had such a profound impact on my life, and I know Malika's life. And years ago, when we started listening to them, we were immediately struck by how applicable their tips and strategies were and how relatable they were as podcasters and humans going through life. And our lives have been positively impacted by their reflections and their trying things out and their, being vulnerable and sharing missteps and places where they want to grow. And so we just want to thank them.
Absolutely. We wouldn't be here in this conversation if it weren't for them and their conversations.
Yes, that's absolutely right. And I think for Gretchen and Liz in particular, their relationship as sisters definitely resonated with me, and I know Malika. So there's something really special about sisters. And I'm so grateful to you, Malika. It's a kind of a peak for you also. Somehow that turned into you. Thank you for being my sister.
Well, I feel the same way.
Oh, thank you. What's your valley?
My valley is about my son. He's got a lot of bug bites last week at daycare. And before we started recording, I was telling you how he has a fever right now.
Yeah. He's going
He's
through
going
it.
through it. But I think it's these ailments, but I think the deeper valley is just that I don't have control over everything that happens to him. And I know that this is a part of what it means to be a parent. And you have told me that many times. Even when I was pregnant, was upset by different circumstances, you would constantly remind me that, well, it's kind of like practice for when you don't have a lot of control. And again, this is a part of my ride, I guess. But just these moments where he's really vulnerable and we do our best, but we can't do everything. And there's just a lot that we can't protect him from. And that makes me feel vulnerable. So that's the valley. It's also just a part of starting daycare. And many people have told me this, the first 2 to 3 years, you'll have a lot of illnesses and probably beyond. But I don't know if it'll get easier or if you just kind of get tougher.
Of course it'll get easier. Of course it'll get easier. Of course it will. He will survive. The mosquitoes are annoying. This is an annoyance. And it's in the New York Times now. There's a whole piece on it. It's an epidemic this year. So this is a valley for mosquitoes and the havoc that they're playing on our daily lives, because I'm definitely experiencing it, and as well as the kids at my school. So mosquitoes are a terrible thing. And yes, when you let your child out into the world, they will experience things. He's on a ride, and there's so many positive things that come with that journey. And then there's some hard things too. So yes, you're definitely experiencing all of that,
He's really on a ride.
Yeah, but it'll pass until he starts kindergarten. And then it'll be a whole new set of germs and issues all over again in that new community.
Well, I appreciate the sisterly wisdom from a knowing place.
Yeah, been through it for sure. But this was a little different. I do want to acknowledge this particular valley.
You're right. The mosquitoes are an environmental reality that's different. That brings us to the end of our episode. Azizi, let's leave on a happier thought. What are you going to try this week?
Malika, I'm very intrigued by this pre-public speaking script that you have and how to be my own manager when I'm in a public speaking situation. So that's on my mind right now. Thank you for sharing that. Malika, what about you?
I said it a couple times already. I think I'm really going to take that reframe home and try to enjoy the ride this week.
Good.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you like us, rate, review, and tell a friend.
Send us a message at happierladies@gmail.com and tell us something you liked about Happier and Happier in Hollywood this week.
Our theme music was created by Wyatt Muncie, and we want to thank Norma Mondi for helping us produce this episode.
We also want to give a special shout out to Gretchen Rubin, Liz Kraft, and Sarah Fain, again, for inspiring our conversation each week.
You can find us on Instagram at happierladies and on the web at happierladies.com.
We'll see you next time.
We got to work on a catchphrase. We
need something else at the end instead of we'll see you next time. We need an onward and upward. Maybe it's enjoy the ride.
Maybe enjoy the ride. Let's workshop it.
All right.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM, women's voices amplified.